There is a moment recorded by the historian Plutarch that tells you everything you need to know about Alexander. He was the most powerful man on earth, days away from launching the greatest military campaign in history. Every king and general had come to pay their respects, yet Alexander went to find a philosopher living in a clay pot. His name was Diogenes, a man who owned nothing and rejected status and power as illusions. Alexander, surrounded by the weight of Macedonian royalty, asked, "Is there anything I can do for you?" The philosopher squinted up at the king and said, "Yes, move, you are blocking my sun." Alexander's companions laughed, but he did not. He stood in silence and said, "If I were not Alexander, I would wish to be Diogenes." To understand that tension, we must go back to 343 BC to a quiet sanctuary called Mieza. Here the 13-year-old Alexander was tutored by Aristotle himself. For 3 years they walked these shaded paths, debating ethics, medicine, science, and the nature of virtue. Aristotle gave Alexander a framework for understanding the world through reason and evidence, teaching him that excellence, what the Greeks called arete, was not a gift, but a habit, a daily choice, worn into the bones. But Aristotle also gave him a darker, divisive vision of the world, one that split humanity into civilized Greeks and savage barbarians. It was a cage of thought that Alexander would spend the rest of his life trying to break out of. At the center of Alexander's world was the Iliad, a book he kept under his pillow alongside his dagger. He saw Achilles not as a legend, but as a blueprint for existence. When he crossed into Asia at age 22, the first thing he did was run to the tomb of Achilles at Troy. He laid a wreath on the grave and wept, lamenting that Achilles was fortunate to have had Homer to sing of his greatness. In that moment, he committed to the first pillar of his philosophy, that glory is not vanity, but the only form of immortality available to a mortal man. A life without the stamp of greatness, he believed, was simply waiting to die. His journey was defined by pothos, a restless, aching yearning for the unknown. This led him across hundreds of miles of desert to the oracle of Siwa, where he was greeted as the son of a god. He chose to inhabit that title, not as a delusion, but as a philosophical position, that certain men, by the force of their will, rise above the ordinary categories of humanity. Later, when his Macedonian veterans grew angry at his adoption of Persian customs, Alexander delivered a speech at Opis that shattered the world his teacher had built. He called Macedonians and Persians alike his kinsmen, rejecting the divide between Greek and barbarian to propose a vision of homonoia, harmony between all peoples. To solidify this vision of unity, Alexander orchestrated a massive symbolic event, the weddings at Susa. In a single ceremony, he took 2 Persian princesses as his wives and compelled 80 of his top generals to marry noble Persian women. This was not merely a political alliance, it was a philosophical act of synthesis. He was actively forcing the fusion of East and West, attempting to create a new ruling class that transcended blood and borders. It was the ultimate rejection of Aristotle's binary worldview, demonstrating his belief that civilization was not fixed, but something that could be reshaped by deliberate imperial will. Yet Alexander was not a sage at peace. He was a man in constant war with himself. He burned cities. He killed in moments of drunken rage. And when his closest friend, Hephaestion, died, his grief was so profound that he executed the doctor who failed to save him. He realized in the end that no amount of conquest could shield a man from the pain of human love. He died at 32 in Babylon, never having stopped moving, never having fully reconciled the man of power with the man of wisdom. But in his refusal to accept the boundaries of his time, he stretched human civilization toward a shape no one had yet imagined.